The Honourable Nanaya Mahuta.
Tēnā tātou katoa, tēnei e tāpiri atu aku nei mihi ki ngā iwi e toru, I tai tīnana mai, hei arahi a rātou kreme ki tēnei wāhanga kia whakaturingia a rātou wawata I roto I nei kreme. Nō reira, Ngati Pahauwera, Ngati Porou, hoki mai ki te kāinga Ngati Maniapoto tēnā koutou. Mr Speaker, I too want to confirm my and our party's support for each of the individual settlement bills that have been brought to the House today. Some comment has been raised with regards to the recent innovation of clustering bills together and bringing them to the House. While in some respects I acknowledge that it enables the speedy progress and passage through the House and this process, I am unsure about whether the innovation in the long term is a positive mechanism in the treaty settlement process, because as the Waitangi Tribunal is an important forum to have histories heard, so too is this House of Parliament in terms of putting on the record the context within which treaty settlements have occurred, and it's only through the Hansard debate and the debate of parliamentarians in this House will people understand in retrospect what was the particular policy at the day and why were things done in a certain way, because we all know, those of us from iwi, that many treaty settlements have fallen far short of expectations out there amongst our iwi. So I put that on the record for the single purpose of noting that while we in a process-oriented manner want to ensure that those treaty settlements that are currently sitting before the Minister receive its full support to go through the passage of this House, I certainly don't want to lose sight of some of the tensions certainly out there amongst iwi when they observe this process. So with the forbearance of Ngati Pahauwera and Ngati Porou, rather than skim over once lightly of their two claims, I will restrict my comments particularly to ngā wai o Maniapoto, because it's with the view in mind of putting on the record some peculiarities that have emerged as a result of the political landscape that I think ngā wai o Maniapoto and the way in which the settlement has been approached will gain some clarity from my contribution. Some comment was made previously by members about the Waikato Tainui settlement and the agreements reached there, and people need to remember that the settlement that was initialled in August in 2008 was somewhat different to the settlement that was reinitialled later with the national government. And I only draw the attention of the House to that point insofar as the statutory management framework over the Waikato River changed. Initially, it was envisaged that there would be a number of statutory boards to manage the Waikato River, with the onset of the national government wanting to streamline processes. They basically truncated the statutory management regime. And Waikato Tainui certainly agreed to it, but it will, I think, in the review process, present some issues that may need to be considered sometime down the track, because this is how it affects Ngati Maniapoto. The bill that has been presented to the House proposes to put the same statutory regime that covers Waikato and the lower Waipa over the upper Waipa catchment. And I think there is some fertile ground for members through the Select Committee process to question how that in effect will impact on decision-making between the upper catchment and peculiarities around that with regards to the lower catchment. I certainly will focus my efforts on practical questions around the statutory management of the whole of the Waipa and the interests there. Now, in setting up the Waikato River Authority, Maniapoto is represented there, and it is important to ensure that those iwi who are along the whole of the Waikato River have a say. Certainly, there's agreement too that Maniapoto's interest as reflected in the Waipa is very important, because you cannot have a clean Waikato River with a dirty Waipa. So absolutely fundamental in terms of the contribution to the larger efforts within the Waikato River, that Waipa is a significant factor that can aid or impede this process if all the issues aren't dealt with methodically and systematically. Impede because I draw the attention of the House to the issue of the upper catchment and needing to address quite seriously a clean-up fund in that area. Now that is a matter I'm sure that the Minister and his and Maniapoto's negotiators will continue to bring up, but if we do not address the upper catchment and the issues around how you maintain a clean waipa throughout the whole of the river system, then we're actually not giving this our full attention and the attention that it deserves. So that's probably the first issue. The second issue I want to raise is more with regards to some of the practical aspects of co-management agreements. Now, Parikura Horomia pointed to one thing, joint management agreements with relevant local authorities. Now, we know that territorial authorities, regional councils are resourced to be able to put together JMAs, to be able to draw on technical advice, to be able to give effect to their part of the picture. But when we're looking at a co-management, co-governance opportunity, not all iwi who want to go down this path are resourced to the same effect, even in terms of human resource, to be able to meet the same time frames as local authorities and things like that. So in a very practical sense, again, this is an area where it may be worth the Select Committee asking further questions to ensure that what we think is being achieved, certainly from the government and the Crown's position, is actually being affected. And I think that is one area where you can pretty much will see some of the difficulties. Also, in terms of giving effect to the Waiwaya Accord, we know that the government is proposing to merge some of the ministries, and the assurance that I'll be seeking through the Select Committee process is how, if it will affect some of those protocols between the Minister, his ministry, and the practical implementation, because what we need to ensure, if you're going to give full effect to the Waiwaya Accord, is that those high-level agreements actually reflected at the regional level with your regional managers of each of those ministries. So those are some of the questions, again, that I'll be looking to ask at Select Committee to, again, affirm the commitment of the Crown with regards to this particular bill. Mr Speaker, there are a number of other aspects of the Ngā Waio Maniapoto Waipa River Bill that I believe it's important to express in the House. Because while we, from a resource management point of view, are quite happy to talk about integrated catchment management and ensuring that that can be given effect, actually for people who live along the Waipa, this waterway, this river means so much more, and it's really important in terms of capturing the essence of what this river means, that we're able to achieve that in some small way in contributions of debate in the House, and I hope that in the third reading my contribution might do better on that front. I want to acknowledge the Maniapoto Māori Trust Board, the Ngā Waio Maniapoto team and the negotiators, the staff, their advisors and kaumātua, who have all been a part of this lengthy process. From an observer looking in, you tend to hear the frustrations with government processes and certainly with ministries, but from an observer looking in, what I can clearly say and commit to is this bill sits alongside the greater aim, and that is, Minister, to ensure that the broader range of Maniapoto claims hopefully can at least be commenced before the election, because what we know, if the true potential of Māori and Maniapoto are going to be reached, as was referred to by the Honourable Member Georgina Te Hauhau, then it is absolutely important that the comprehensive claims in Maniapoto are looked at, are sat down with and negotiated with to ensure that Maniapoto too can make its contribution to this nation, to the economy and to the well-being of the people, certainly within the region and for this country. Nō reira, kia koutou katoa, tēnā koutou.